Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I am going to be diving into the realm of tablet innovation with the Honor Pad 9. Throughout this in-depth review, I'll serve as your guide exploring every aspect of the Honor Pad 9 from its display to its software functionalities. Personally, I want to see what difference this has from the excellent Honor Pad X9, which I reviewed a few months ago and thought that was a very good tablet for the price. So this tablet costs £299 here in the UK, and that's for the 80GB and 256GB combination. So in this review, we'll be checking out the design and build, audio from the 8 speakers, the display, productivity, gaming and more. So stick around and find out what this tablet's all about. So to start off with, we have the box here itself. It's got this kind of nice reflecting, color shifting Honor Pad 9 text on the front. We've got some information, high-res audio, and then we get USB-C charging cable and paperwork, including a quick start guide and warranty information. And that's all we get in the box. And of course, the tablet itself. So no charging brick included. So for design and build, so the top of the tablet, we have the volume and power buttons with 2 microphones. To the right, we have the speaker grills and the charging port. Around the bottom, we have more speakers. And to the left, we have additional speakers. So that's 8 speakers in total. On the front, we have the front-facing camera. And then around the back, this aluminium unibody casing along with the camera. Now let's dig into how this fancy design affects the user experience. So the Honor Pad 9 has a 12.1-inch IPS display with a resolution of 2560 by 1600 pixels, which equates to 249 ppi, running at 120Hz refresh rate. I was surprised to see there's no anti-glare display though, which is present on the Chinese version of the tablet. So looks like the global version will not have that paper effect / anti-glare coating, which is quite disappointing, as I was quite excited to check out what a display like that would be on a tablet this size. You can check out the full specs of the display here if you want. Peak brightness is at 400 nits, but reflectivity can become an issue in more brighter environments. Viewing angles are what you would expect from an IPS LCD display, with slight color temperature shifting at certain angles, still viewable at more extreme angles, so not too bad. We have 4K YouTube playback. So to start off with, thank you to my boy information on that card there, and then we have the charging cable, which is magnetic. And then in this part, so the watch is constructed using 7000 series aluminium, is 5. And we also have 60 FPS supported, but I noticed the video becomes choppy when choosing the option. And if I drop it back down to 1080p 60 FPS, it was playing absolutely fine. We have wide one level 1 support on Netflix, but obviously no HDR support on this panel. So the display is fine, what you would expect from an LCD panel. Viewing angles are good and colors are nice and sharp, and obviously on an LCD panel they are the most accurate. So later on in the video we'll check out how the 8 speaker setup on the Honor Pad 9 actually sounds. So I'll give you a hint, and they're quite loud. So by the end of this review, you'll have a thorough understanding of the display performance and real-world scenarios, providing you an insight for your purchasing decisions. So we'll check out how the display handles everything else. But for some reason, I couldn't access Disney Plus, and not sure why that was, but every other streaming service was available as far as I could see, so a bit odd. Outdoor in direct sunlight, the display suffers quite a bit. You literally can't see the screen, but out of direct sunlight and generally outside. Now let's shift our attention to the inside of the Honor Pad 9. We're working with the Snapdragon 6 Generation 1, which is fabricated on the 4nm process, paired with the Adreno 710 GPU, and we have 8GB plus 8GB virtual RAM, which Honor called Honor Turbo. And then we have a total of 256GB storage, which is the only combination available here in the UK. So we'll check out some benchmarks, and TwoTwo score here of 467,047 I got, which is reasonable for an entry-level / mid-range CPU. Geekbench 6 scores here, 907 single, 2596 on the multi. And then Wildlife Extreme Test, I mean, it was hitting around 4-5 frames per second, but generally The user interface itself is what you would expect from MagicOS 7.2. I've covered this in all my previous Honor reviews, so if you want more in-depth look at the software, then you can check out one of those videos, but you have all your bells and whistles like multitasking, additional features built in, things like that. Hang tight and we'll check out how the CPU and GPU perform when it comes to intense gaming. So we'll check out some games on the Honor Pad 9. On the right, I have a timer so you can see how long I've been playing for. And then the battery percent to start off before we start is at 76%. So we'll jump straight into PUBG, and you can see HD is the highest that is allowed for the graphics. Everything else is not available. And then we have high refresh rate available. So I'm just gonna jump straight in. And apologies, I wasn't able to provide real-time FPS and temperature monitoring, but from what I can see, the game is definitely not running at a very high FPS rate, but still smooth. It's definitely not hitting 60 frames. So after roughly 9 minutes of playing PUBG, we have dropped down to 73%. And we'll jump into Genshin Impact. I'm gonna crank everything up to the highest available, so 60 frames on here. And I feel like Genshin Impact is running smoother FPS wise, and that could be down to the game being better optimized. And again, I don't think it's hitting 60 FPS, but it definitely was running smoother than PUBG. So after roughly 18 minutes of gaming, we're down to 68% battery and the temperature was at 35 degrees. So not too bad. Next, I'm going to jump into Jaeger. Personally love this game. Again, I'm going to crank everything up to the highest available. And then we'll jump straight into this and see what this performs like. "39 minutes in and we're down to 63% for battery. Not bad, but the games are definitely not hitting the higher end of the FPS range, which isn't surprising considering it's a mid-range CPU and GPU. Call of Duty, again, we have high for graphics and max on refresh. And again, an enjoyable experience. Just keeping in mind that for any heavier gaming, we're going to have a limitation on graphics itself. But we can see 35 minutes I've been gaming now and still tablet was working absolutely fine, 59% there. Next, I'll just jump in and see how it processes and exports a 4K footage. So I've just got this footage of some campfire. Just gonna jump here into InShot editor, add some text there and we'll export that. So this video clip is about 1 minute 55 seconds long. So we can see that took basically 1 minute 35 seconds, I would say, to export, which isn't the fastest, but isn't the slowest as well. So reasonable. But what about battery life in general? So stick around. We'll check out how it performs under different testing and through general use. So we have 8 speakers set up on the Honor Pad 9, and these are Hissen tuned. But if you have a quick look at the settings, we can see here sounds and effects. You could check out the 3D sound. And then if you jump into sound style, you can kind of pick which kind of sound style you want to have. So you've got vocals, movie, music, gaming. But we'll have a listen and see what it sounds like, and we'll crank it up to 100%.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy.
display sitting on top of that. So if we just head into the settings to see what kind of options we have always on display settings. So we can either choose from AMOLED, So moving on to battery, the Honor Pad 9 has an 8300 milliamp hour battery and supports quick charging up to 35 watts. But obviously you're going to have to get the charger separately as it does not come provided with the box. Jumping in the settings, we can see we just have our usual kind of stuff here really. Your chart to show battery consumption, and then you can pick between performance mode or battery saving mode. In more battery settings we have smart charge, smart battery capacity, things like that. You can turn those options on and off. And then we'll just check out my PCMark battery life test. The screen brightness was set to 75%, volume to 25%, and when I ran the test the first time, the battery life lasted for 5 hours and 45 minutes. I'm not too sure where this tablet is positioned because for me, it seems very similar to the Honor Pad X9, apart from small differences such as a bigger screen by an inch or so, a slightly faster CPU and GPU, but then again still limited to a certain degree, and then 8 speakers over 6, and of course we have more RAM options on the Honor Pad 9. So if you're looking for a slight bump in performance and specs, then I guess the Honor Pad 9 would be your choice, and there is stylus support on this display, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get an actual stylus. It's not being sold on Honor's website, so that was quite disappointing. But for me, the Honor Pad X9 would probably be the choice between the Honor Pad 9 and Honor Pad X9, as I don't think the price justifies the differences between the two tablets.